What I like best about being here is the natural setting. There's bush surrounding everywhere. We have a community of artists, so I don't feel isolated when I do my work, and it's on a point. So as far as Sydney's concerned, there's very minimal traffic, especially after hours. The review that's going on about the Harbour Trust at the moment, I think I've only really just heard of it. I believe it's already closed. I feel that not enough time was given so that people could actually examine this review. Apparently it cost a lot of money, and I believe that we should all actually have an opportunity to examine this review.
My name is Anne Cape, and I'm one of the artists at Middlehead in Building 16. I actually share the space with two other artists. I find it an amazing place to be able to come and work here. There's something about being in this natural environment. It's just a sense of space that is valuable here, and I think I'm very fortunate to have this opportunity in living in a city of Sydney, for anybody to have this space, the natural environment around here. It is quite inspirational, restorative. I think the Harbour Trust has done a very good job in readapting these buildings, and I think everybody here, myself particularly, appreciate the history of the area and that what these buildings were used for initially. And it's nice to have preserved that heritage in the site. I think that's really important. And it's the history of Sydney. It's a very important part of Sydney, and I think it's all mirrored in just the type of buildings that are here. I think the heritage value is very important, and it's just nice as part of the whole environment here. I haven't been aware of, until very recently, about the intended review in this area, and I'm incredibly disappointed because I think it has been such a successful endeavour, the whole project here that the Sydney Harbour Federation Trust has taken on, and they've done it really well. I think it would just be tragic to lose the whole environmental facility or the way it operates. I think it's valuable for everybody in the country, not just the local population. As I said, I've only recently become aware of the review, and I don't understand what the intentions are, but I think it's really important that we all do try and find out and do our best to preserve the area as it is.
So many of our people, Brett Whiteley, Olsen, and so on, of our students have painted this harbour. In fact, I did suggest to the Trust that what we need down here is an extension to what we have up here, this marvellous group of painters who are keeping this tradition alive. A gallery of the harbour, a gallery where the whole history of the harbour could be portrayed, going back to Conrad Martin's, the Aboriginal artists. You've got some buildings out there on the end. I don't know what their current usage is, but you could have courts going out to show the living harbour and people coming back. What a tourist attraction. That would bring so much money into this country, the greatest harbour in the world with one of the best galleries. Can you imagine? Our connection with this was we were offered a studio here by the Sydney Harbour Federation Trust, a wonderful group of people, and what they have given through the auspices of the Australian government, Mr. Howard I think was the Prime Minister at the time, is a wonderful thing. And to give this back to the people, all of these army bases, all of these, what an inspiration. Anyhow, we were asked if we would like to have a studio here, and I saw the connection between the artist's camp, Julian's artist camp, and a presence here, and so we accepted this studio, and we've been here ever since, and so many wonderful painters have been through it in that time. I'm very aware that when it was set up, the Sydney Harbour Federation Trust, it was an inspired act. If things can be done sympathetically, I would support, sort of further usage. There's a lot of land here, but obviously there are very wise people who are in charge, and we would rely on their wisdom.
Two things to say quickly, maybe, before it thunder hits. One is that I tend to paint trees. My studio is filled with tree paintings, and I call a lot of them tree portraits because they're actually based on local trees. And several of these are in there. It's a natural combination for me. The other thing that I think I'd like to say that I find is really special about this place is I have lived in a lot of different cities around the world, and you don't find this. You don't find a big, real, urban, wonderful city on a big water body with a lot of wild land in different places. And I have a lot of international visitors too, family and friends. And they keep saying, how did you get so many parks around? It's fabulous. And they walk on them, and they go through them, and they go visit North Head, and they come over here. I actually did hear about the review, but I heard about it through an email of our group 2 days before Christmas. I had 6 house guests, and the deadline was so fast, I don't know. I didn't even know what to do. It wasn't clear to me what they wanted exactly. But I'm very much interested in trying to keep this place as it is. It's quite special that it's actually a wild place. The natural environment is great. I'm still learning about the heritage values of it, but I do take people around and say, this used to be this and this, and you can read the sign, and people are very interested. And occasionally some of the guys who were stationed here come in and tell stories about what happened. Like in my studio, there used to be some rails, and they bent very large pieces of metal to make giant chains for boats. And the land ship, that half-buried thing over there, I thought, land ship, what a poetic name for a sort of half-buried, almost a bunker. Well, it's where they practice with the crane, loading and unloading and the big rectangular top that comes off, so they could do the same thing on the ship. And I was like, so it's the ship on land. And suddenly knowing the history of it, it was like, wow. Well, we have shows there. We have a couple shows a year as groups, and individual artists sometimes have shows in there. We rent it from the trust. I don't know that we are as commercial as some, but then most artists aren't. We do pay. We all pay rent.